Thank you. Okay. Yeah. So today's verse is Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, first chapter, and verse number 11. So we're continuing on. Shri Devi Mataji completed verse 10 yesterday. So we'll have 11 today. If you permission, Maharaj, should I start sharing? Yeah. Thank you. Oops.
Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Etam nidvidyamananam mitchyatam akudabayam yoginam nirpanirnitam harir namanukirtanam. O King, constantly chanting of the holy name of the Lord after the ways of the great authorities is the doubtless and fearless way of success for all, including those who are free from all material desires, those who are desirous of all material enjoyment, and also those who are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. In the previous verse, the necessity for attaining attachment Mukunda has been accredited. There are different types of persons who desire to attain success in different pursuits, varieties of pursuits. Generally, the persons are materialists who desire to enjoy the fullest extent of material gratification. Next to them are the transcendentalists who have attained perfect knowledge about the nature of material enjoyment and are thus aloof from such illusionary way of life. More or less, they are self-satisfied in themselves by self-realization. Above them are the devotees of the Lord who are neither aspired to enjoy the material world nor desire to get out of it. They are after the satisfaction of the Lord Shri Krishna. In other words, the devotees of the Lord do not want anything on their personal account. If the Lord desires, the devotees can accept all sorts of material facilities. If the Lord does not desire this, the devotees can leave aside all sorts of facilities, even up to the limit of salvation. Nor are they self-satisfied because they want the satisfaction of the Lord only. So far, what we're hearing is that there are three kinds of persons that we can categorize. The materialists, they see the material world and life's activities as the pursuit of happiness. They are called karmis, and they work simply to enjoy their senses, develop economic gain, and facilitate a band of relatives who will be destroyed by the oblivion of time. They're the foolish. These are the foolish peer members. They have no intelligence. They're simply running after some illusion of happiness. But they never learn. It's like the donkey who repeatedly gets kicked, but still doesn't know how to act differently without getting kicked. It's a foolish person. The donkey just works very hard for a little bit of grass to give to him by the worker man, the washer man. At the same time, he can't think that there's grass all over. He could simply stop carrying this burden of load and just eat grass, but he's so stupid. So that's the materialist. They don't know that God provides everything automatically for what they need. And if they just serve God, they'll get everything they need automatically. But because they're no better than the ass, they simply work hard for some kind of thing called material sense gratification, which doesn't give them any satisfaction but because they're ass-like, they don't know anything different. Then you have the Gyanis, or mentioned here, those are self-satisfied by dint of transcendental knowledge. And they have performed meditation, prayers, done some austerities, have freed themselves from the attraction of material life, and have entered into the Brahman realization. They are known as the impersonalists or the Gyanis. They think that this is the attainment of life, Jnana Yoga, because they are experience a type of happiness which is freedom from all material activities. They don't know that higher than that is the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which is mentioned here by the devotees. The Gyanis want to get out of the material world. They see the material world as simply suffering, and therefore they want to go beyond the material and into the realm of realizing the all-pervading spiritual nature of all existence. It's known as the Brahma Jyoti. Some of them are successful. They merge into the body of the Lord. Some of them merge into the effulgence of the Lord's body. Both are Gyanis. Some are Mayavadis. Actually, not Mayavadis, but they're Brahmavadis. They have reached Brahman realization. And here, the devotees, they don't even try to get out of the material world, nor do they look to the material world as any kind of enjoyment. They know the material world is suffering, but they want to focus simply on giving pleasure to Krishna. And they're the bhaktas, and they're the highest, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten vinatmanaham stradavan bhajate yomam te me yuktatamo mataha. Out of all yogis, he who abides in me and in transcendental faith is intimately united with me in yoga, is the highest of all. So the bhakti yogis, this is mentioned in the last verse of the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna describes the yoga systems for the different levels of spiritual attainment. And he concludes by speaking about the highest or the most complete yoga is bhakti yoga, because bhakti is directly connected with the satisfaction of the Lord. And those who perform bhakti and trying to satisfy the Lord, they don't have to worry about any of their material needs. Krishna provides everything they need automatically, and then their only business is to give Krishna pleasure by following the direction given by the authorities in the activities they perform, which is called Bhakti Yoga, devotional service. This is the internal energy of the Lord, also known as Srimati Radharani, is personified by that. Therefore, they take shelter of Srimati Radharani and engage in Krishna service by thinking how to please Krishna. And whatever activities they perform, whether apparently ordinary or directly in terms of glorifying the Lord, their mind is focused on giving pleasure to the Lord. They may sing, they sing for the pleasure of the Lord. They dance for the pleasure of the Lord. They eat for the pleasure of the Lord. They may do ordinary activities like cooking or accounting or any kind of occupation, but they think, let me offer the results for the pleasure of the Lord, because the Lord is the source of all existence, and everything is meant for his pleasure anyway. It's understood, at least in a very simplified way, that because Krishna has created everything, he is meant to enjoy everything. It's logical. Anybody who creates anything in this world thinks to get some enjoyment. That person may decide to share what they've created or done with others, but still there is that motivation for personal pleasure also, both either in the creation or in the offering. So the devotees think, how can we please the Lord? and they're always in that mood. And Krishna recommends that as the perfection of one's yoga. It's the highest form of yoga, to serve the Lord without any personal desire other than trying to please the Lord. And it says here, um, they sometimes, it says, nor are they self-satisfied because they want the satisfaction of the Lord. So sometimes even devotees will take on hardships and difficulties just to please the Lord. They may do activities that are very difficult and sometimes even dangerous, but it's for the pleasure of the Lord. They don't think twice. When Arjuna was there on the battlefield, he was with Krishna. He had so many reasons why he didn't want to fight, and all of his reasons were good. He was thinking, Krishna, when you fight, you kill demons who are adverse personalities, who are dangerous. You're asking me to kill my relatives. These are people who I learned so much when I grew up with, I had friendship with. So he's criticizing or just explaining how can you ask me to do this, Krishna? But Krishna had a higher plan, and he wanted Arjuna to be his instrument. And so Arjuna was in a position to get special mercy from the Lord by acting on behalf of the Lord, by performing his activities as a Kshatriya for the pleasure of the Lord. The Lord wanted it, and because the Lord wanted it, it was auspicious. Some people say that, the Battle of Kurukshetra, Arjuna was a peaceful person, and now Krishna is encouraging him to be violent. But actually, whatever Krishna wants is morality, and whatever Krishna doesn't want, that's immorality. So sometimes the definition of morality goes into the level of doing things that seem to be immoral or dangerous, but still, because Krishna wants it, it's perfect. Of course, no one can surreptitiously or automatically do things and think this is for Krishna. One has to get sanction from Krishna through the mercy directly from the bona fide spiritual master. And so Arjuna had so many reasons why not to fight, and Krishna listened to all of them. And then Krishna was smiling, seeing how Arjuna, such a powerful Kshatriya, was overwhelmed by grief and lamentation, which is not befitting such a person as Arjuna. But then Krishna was patient, and then Krishna finally says, Asocham vasocham stvam patyavaram sabasuse katusam zagutatsums chan nanu shochandi panditaha. He said, Arjuna, you're lamenting for that which is not worthy of lamentable. Those who are wise lament neither for the living or the dead. You're completely on the bodily platform. And so he was saying, he called him a pundit, not a pundit, but one who was not very intelligent, a pundit. So it's interesting how, and of course, finally Arjuna got the message. When we want to do something, sometimes we discuss it. And Arjuna was doing that, discussing it with Krishna, giving his own opinion. But then he finally said, this is not getting anywhere, my dear Lord. Now I become your devotee. You are my master, and I am your devotee. Now you can guide me. And when Krishna heard that, then Arjuna was ready to hear the transcendental message of the relationship between the disciple and the spiritual master. And Krishna was the original spiritual master, Arjuna playing the perfect role of a disciple. And finally, after hearing everything about the principle of karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, And his purpose as a Kshatriya, he became not only enthusiastic, but determined to satisfy Krishna with the fighting spirit. So devotees can accept anything if it is sanctioned by the Lord for the service of the Lord. And we'll go on here. In this verse, Srila Sukadeva Goswami recommends the transcendental chanting of the holy name of the Lord. By offenseless chanting and hearing of the holy name of the Lord, one becomes acquainted with the transcendental form of the Lord. So when you chant, you connect with the holy name, and as you develop your chanting, then you become connected to the transcendental form of the Lord, and then the attributes of the Lord, and then the transcendental nature of his pastimes. So it's progressive. As you perfect your chanting, you realize Krishna is not different than his holy name. Then you realize Krishna is not different than his transcendental form. Then you realize his attributes are also non-different than him, his qualities, characteristics. And then finally, you can go to the highest stage of chanting, where one enters into Krishna's pastimes. Here it is mentioned that one should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord after hearing it from the authorities. This means that hearing from the authorities is first essential. Hearing the holy name gradually promotes one to the stage of hearing about his form, attributes, pastimes, and so on. And thus the necessity of the chanting of the glories develops successfully. Yeah. So we have to hear about chanting the holy names of the Lord, who are fixed in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who are in the line of disciplic succession, who are qualified bhaktas, who are practicing devotional service. We can hear about the glories of the holy name from the non-devotees, or for those who want to make a business out of chanting the holy name. We have people who do that. They take the scriptures, the holy name, and they sell it back to you in different forms in order to gain some pecuniary gain, and they present themselves as being knowledgeable at the holy name. This is very much condemned by the Shastras, Shruti Sriti Puranadi Pancharatriki Vidi Vidam. Sanatana Goswami says, one should follow the Shrutis, the Smritis, the Puranas, and hear from the spiritual master who speaks on behalf of these holy scriptures, not someone who is taking the holy name and making a business out of it, or gives his own interpretation of the holy name based on his own speculations. And then, of course, here, we're practicing the holy name. We're moving through the different stages from the hearing about his form, attribute, and thus the necessity of the chanting of the glories of the holy name develops successfully. This process is recommended not only for successful execution of devotional service, but also even for those who are materially attached. According to Sukadeva Goswami, this way of attaining success is an established fact, concluded not only by him, but also by the previous acharya. So although he is qualified to speak, he's giving reference to the previous acharyas. He's not just speaking something, he's referring to the process given by the great souls who have come in the line of Krishna in disciplic succession. And so when you have Guru, and you have Shastra, and you have Sadhu, then you have the complete understanding. It's called the triangle of truth. What Shastra says, what Guru says, and what the sadhus before have said he says, as Prabhupada says, there is no need for further evidence. This process is recommended not only for the progressive students in different departments of ideological success, but also for those who are already successful in their achievement as fruit of workers, as philosophers, or as devotees of the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami instructs the chanting of the holy name. Drop it down a little bit. Down. Yeah. Should be loudly done. It should be performed offenselessly as well as recommended in the Puranas. We don't chant silently in the mind. Loudly means audible, where you can hear yourself chanting. That's what loudly means. Doesn't mean you have to scream it. It means you should hear it. You should hear the sound of your voice chanting the holy name and focusing your attention on that sound. One can deliver himself from the effects of all sins by surrendering himself unto the Lord. One can deliver himself from all offenses at the feet of the Lord by taking shelter of the holy name. But one cannot protect himself if one commits an offense at the feet of the holy name. Such offenses are mentioned in the Padma Purana as being 10 in number. Now we're going to hear Sukadeva Goswami mention the 10 offenses to the holy name. Some he will expand on, others he will just mention. So this is important. Where there is do's, there is also don'ts. So one should chant, but one should avoid certain mindsets and certain activities. First is to vilify the great devotees who have preached about the glories of the Lord. The second offense is to see the holy names of the Lord in terms of worldly distinction. The Lord is the proprietor of all the universes, and therefore he may be known in different places by different names. But that does not in any way qualify the fullness of the Lord. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as any others because they are all meant for the Lord. Now that's a powerful statement. Any nomenclature which is meant for the Supreme Lord is as holy as the others because they are all meant for the same. Such holy names are as powerful as the Lord, and there is no bar for anyone in any part of the creation to chant and glorify the Lord by a particular name of the Lord as is locally understood. They are all auspicious, and one should not distinguish such names of the Lord as material commodities. So what that means is that one should chant the names of the Lord, just like there are different scriptures who recommend other names of the Lord other than Krishna. We have Rama, we have Gopi Jana Vallabha. We have other traditions who also glorify the Lord by chanting the names. You have Yahweh, that's the name also of the Lord. Sometimes there are many names. I'm not completely versed through all of them. But of course, the Krishna name is the complete manifestation of the Lord's qualities because all the names, forms, qualities, attributes, pastimes are found in the name of Krishna. But Prabhupada's making a certain point here by saying, because it's the name of the Lord, it's as powerful as the Lord. 3, the third offense is to neglect the orders of the authorized acharyas or spiritual masters. 4 is to vilify scriptures or Vedic knowledge. All of these require some explanation. Of course, the fourth offense is that there are many scriptures, and some of them talk about, Shiva being supreme. Others talk about Agni being supreme. But these are meant for different persons who are on lower levels of spiritual practice, who cannot come to the highest level, and they want to they read the scriptures, they hear these statements, they worship these persons, and gradually they elevate themselves to higher and higher stages. So to vilify these scriptures or any Vedic knowledge is considered an offense. This is very subtle. We have to be careful of this fourth offense. The fifth defense is to define the holy name of the Lord in terms of material calculation. The holy name of the Lord is identical with the Lord himself, and one should understand the holy name of the Lord to be non-different from him. So to make some material calculations, compare it to something material. That is an offense. The sixth offense is to give some interpretation. The Lord is not imaginary, nor is his holy name. There are persons with a poor fund of knowledge who think the Lord to be an imagination of the worshiper, and therefore think his holy name to be imaginary. Such a chanter of the name of the Lord cannot achieve the desired success in the matter of chanting the holy name. There's one such very powerful personality he's preaching even today. He's saying that Krishna, Rama, these are just imaginations. There's no such persons as such. And he becomes popular because he has the power to speak and convince people of whatever he's saying. He's an offender. Ultimately, he will have to suffer in lower species of life after he leaves his body, because he's misdirecting people and giving them wrong information about spiritual life. Therefore, it says that those who teach wrongly also go to hell, and they bring their followers also to hell. The seventh offense is to commit sins intentionally on the strength of the holy name. In the scriptures, it said that one can be liberated from the effects of all sinful actions simply by chanting of the holy name of the Lord. One who takes advantage of this transcendental method and continues to commit sins on the expectation of neutralizing the effects of sins by chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the greatest, and the word greatest, offenders to the feet of the holy name. Nam nam, mam nam, yasha balhi, papa budhi. Yeah, papa budhi means papa budhi means it's the greatest of all sin, papa. Such an offender cannot purify himself by any recommended method of purification. So, in other words, one may be a sinful man before chanting of the holy name, but after taking shelter of the holy name and becoming immune, one should strictly restrain oneself from committing sinful acts with the hope that this method of chanting of the holy name will give him protection. So there are people who do that. They understand how powerful the holy name is. They still are attached to committing sinful activities. They perform these activities and then they pick up their beads in the evening, expecting to get free from the reactions of their sinful activities. It doesn't work. Krishna is a person. You can't cheat Krishna simply by taking his holy name and using it to continue your sinful activities and think one will not get reactions. They will get reactions, and the holy name will be the source by which they stay suffering. The more they chant like that, the more they will suffer reactions. The eighth offense is to consider the holy name of the Lord and his chanting method to be equal to some material auspicious activities. There are various kinds of good works for material benefits, but the holy name and his chanting are not mere auspicious holy services. Undoubtedly, the holy name is holy service, but he should never be utilized for such purposes. Since the holy name of the Lord are of one and the same identity, one should not try to bring the holy name into the service of mankind. The idea is that the Supreme Lord is the supreme enjoyer. No one is his servant or order supplier. Similarly, since the holy name is identical with the Lord, one should not try to use the Lord's holy name for one's personal service, which means that there are many ways. It says here there are many good works for material benefits. But if one uses the holy name in order to gain something materially from that, that is considered offense. and to consider all of these other material beneficial activities to be one of many activities mentioned in the scriptures along with the holy name. To put the holy name on the same level as these activities. The holy name is Krishna himself in transcendental sound. He is above all everything material. His name is none different than him. It is not, one cannot use the name simply to propagate one's material success in life. One has to be careful of this offense. People do that. They know the holy name is powerful, and they chant, and they try to increase. Oh, by chant, I'll get, my family will have, I'll get a good job. I'll get, I'll get something. I'll get a good job. Maybe I'm looking for a wife, so I'll chant and find a good wife. I'll chant maybe to get rid of this disease. So in other words, to try to bring it into the service of the whole of material, that is considered an offense. The ninth offense is to instruct those who are not interested in chanting of the holy name of the Lord about the transcendental nature of the holy name. If such instruction is imparted to an unwilling audience, this is word unwilling, the act is considered to be an offense at the holy name. So there's people who are adverse to hearing about the holy name, who don't want to chant. If one kind of becomes forceful and tries to push it upon them, we preach and we try to convince, but we see if people are averse to what we say, we don't go any further. And then even when we do preach, we don't talk about the higher benefits of chanting the holy name. We don't talk about Krishna and Vrindavan with his relationships with his intimate associates, especially the gopis. So one should be careful of this. Sometimes the Christians give something similar in their own scriptures. They say, one should not throw valuable gems at the feet of a pig. What will a pig do with valuable gems? It'll just step on it or maybe try to chew on it. So trying to give the holy name to people who are like that is an offense. The 10th offense is to become uninterested in the chanting of the holy name, even after hearing of the transcendental nature of the holy name. The effects of chanting the holy name of the Lord is perceived by the chanter as liberation from the conception of false egoism. False egoism is exhibited by thinking oneself to be the enjoyer of the world and thinking everything in the world to be meant for the enjoyment of oneself only. The whole materialistic world is moving under such false egoism of I and mine, but the factual effect of chanting the holy name is to become free from such misconceptions. So I've been hearing about the glories of the holy name. I've been chanting the holy name, but still I'm looking towards this material world to fulfill my desires for happiness and material success. This is called the I and mind. Janasamoham yamaham mameti. I am this body, and things in relationship to this body are mine. And this is also an offense to the holy name. One should be moving away from this conception, not towards it, when one chants the holy name, coming to the platform of chanting for purification of the heart and for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada makes the point, the whole materialistic world is moving under such false conception of I and mine. We are not this body, and everything in relationship to us does not belong to us. It's simply given to us for use. It's not yours. You use it. It'll remain here after you're gone. It was here before you got here. It's not yours. And you are not this body. You are the soul within the body. So this I and mine is called false egoism, identifying the oneself with something that one is not. Now this is subtle, but it's very powerful. And as Prabhupada says, it moves the whole materialistic world. This offense, one should be very eager to make progress towards the goal of life, which is to develop one's love for Krishna, and not eager to simply chant and still continue to chase after the ephemeral things of this world, thinking this will be success in my life. Okay, so Omigyantimirandasya Ganajana Salakaya Chaksun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namam Vishnu Padai Krishna Pastai Bhutale Shri Makti Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesa Sunyavari Pastyatya Desatarine Panchakalpa Tarubhischa Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasani Gaur Bhaktavrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Guru Maharaj, for covering this verse so nicely. Glories of the chanting the holy name and also the 10 offenses. You have explained it so nicely and reminded us again and again that how we should be purifying our chanting. So thank you so much. Devotees, it was such an important verse covering a very main point, which is, soul of ISKCON, basically chanting the holy name. So please clarify any questions, comment, realizations you have, any struggles you have in the chanting the holy name, or any questions you have on the 10 offenses. Anything, welcome. Thank you. Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Thank you, Satyamama. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. On the importance of chanting Guru Maharaj, we know very well that we need to chant with attention, with devotion, with focus. But sometimes it's very hard to have taste for chanting. It seems sometimes such a chore to chant because our consciousness is not good. In such a situation, how can we keep going and how can we develop real taste so that chanting is something we eagerly look forward to rather than a chore?
Well, the first thing that's mentioned here in relationship to the verse is to avoid offenses. Because if you're chanting with offense, there will be hardly any taste. There may be some taste. You may also get freedom from material suffering, but you won't get the mercy of the holy name, the full mercy. So one should practice chanting. The 11th offense, which is not mentioned here, but is mentioned, is to chant inattentive. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur talks about this as being fundamental to freeing oneself from the tendencies of committing any of the other offenses. What he means is, if you practice attentive chanting and develop it at least to a certain degree, you'll be free from the tendency to commit offenses. Then you'll move beyond the stage of nam aparad to the stage of namabas, where you're chanting without offense. And still, at that point, there is some taste for the chanting of the holy name. One should live a life in such a way as one maximizes their ability to chant the holy name. One should not be tired in the morning when they're chanting, and that makes it hard. The mind becomes very restless when you're tired. Therefore, one should take sufficient rest, and one should avoid eating large amounts of food in the evening, which makes digestion difficult in the evening. And then when you're trying to sleep, you're not resting because your body is still working. So one should, throughout the day, not engage in activities that are useless or materialistic, and then come back and chant the holy name. So the holy name is the process, but the rest of the process supports the holy name. And that means one should behave in a devotional way throughout the day, avoid those things which will be detrimental, to your practice of bhakti, and very much learn carefully how to maximize the chanting of the holy name. So this is important because it's not just chanting, but it's living a life that supports the chanting of the holy name also. Mhm. So then there's a lot of messages that have been given by the acharyas and others who also practice chanting, how to maximize our attention in chanting the holy name. And that's the most important thing, is to chant with attention, where the mind is not so much the concern. The concern is to hear nicely. Practice the hearing process. Hear nicely. And also chant in a helpless state of mind. That's also to think oneself, one can conquer the holy name by the efforts that one makes in chanting is not. One should open themselves up to the glories of the holy name, where Krishna wants to come to that person. So one should chant in a humble state of mind, calling out to Krishna for his mercy. That is a feature of the consciousness that one develops in chanting, that I am your eternal servant. Somehow or other, I've fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Ayi nanda tanuja kinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam buddho vipaya tavapada pankaja stita duli sadrisham vichintaya. Now this is the mood of chanting. Prabhupada emphasized two things. One, clear pronunciation on the chanting of the holy name. Two, hearing very carefully. And three, calling out from Krishna for his mercy. These are the things that Prabhupada talked about. He also talked about the importance of proper posture during, if you're sitting, you should sit with the back straight. And that way concentration becomes a little bit easier. Mm-hmm. So learn the whole process, that what supports the chanting and what takes away from the chanting, like that, and then practice.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
There's, shut your cell phones off when you begin. Don't just put it on the silent mode, shut it off completely. Just that time is between you and Krishna, that's all.
Thank you. Thanks, Mataji. Yes, Maharaj. So there's one more question from Ekta Mataji in the chat. I'll read it out. Hare Krishna Maharaj, and to the devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, you spoke about Arjuna and Krishna and guru-disciple relationship. Can you share something about how we can become a better disciple?
How to become better disciples. Well, we have to be serious about following the instructions, and we have to be eager to learn the instructions. So there are two categories of instructions. There are those which are general for everyone, which are mentioned by the Guru in lectures, and which is also mentioned in the Shastras. And then there is specific instructions that one may gain in terms of what services one should perform for the spiritual master. So both of those instructions are necessary in the execution of devotional service. One should think that hearing from the spiritual master is Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitete Koriya Aikya Ana Koriya Manayas. Narottam Das Thakur prays that this is my nectar, this is my food, this is my nourishment. What is my nourishment? The words of my spiritual master. This is where I get my nourishment. And then he says, Ana Kodio Manias. I don't want to know anything else. I'm fixed on the instructions of the spiritual master. And then he says, Guru Mukha Padma. Then he goes on to say, Guru, what is the next line? Chitete Koyama, Ana Koya Manias. Shi Guru Charanerate. They say Utamagate. Yes, Prasadi Purve Sarva As. That the student, I'm situated at the lotus feet of the spiritual master. That means I'm fixed on his instructions. I don't go anywhere else. I get everything I need right there. So learn that prayer. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakti Sadma Bandel Muhi Sarvadan Mate. That whole prayer is a glorification of the process of worshiping the spiritual master and the mood that the disciple takes on in that worship. That prayer is so important. Srila Prabhupada introduced that as a regular daily practice in our Krishna consciousness program.
Thank you, Maharaj. Ekta Mataji, I hope that answers your question.
Who was that? Who gave that?
Ekta Mataji.
Okay. I mean, there's even more deeper instructions that one can get, but the more one hears from the spiritual master, the more one's mind will start to open up to more and more questions regarding the relationship with the spiritual master. But if we don't hear from the spiritual master, don't associate with the spiritual master, we won't develop that seriousness in following the instructions. The mind will take over and will reinterpret the instructions in our own way, or we will simply neglect the instructions. One has to stay connected to the spiritual master.
Thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. Any other questions, devotees? Otherwise, I have a question. I have a question, Guru Maharaj, on seventh offense. When it says that we shouldn't commit the sinful act on the strength of the holy name. I've heard in one of the class when Srila Prabhupada used to say that, like how Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I'm the test of water. And Srila Prabhupada commented that even if you're drinking wine, you think that, Krishna, it's a test of Krishna, basically. And then you will, one day you will leave those type of stuff and you will become Krishna conscious. So how can devotees, because I have a few devotees come for Bhakti Vriksha, and it's been some time they've been trying to become vegetarian. However, whenever they come, they do chant around, even kids chant around. So how we take this offense, Guru Maharaj?
Well, this is the thing is it's intentional. That was the point Prabhupada made in the verse. Know what to avoid and avoid it. But then if you know what to avoid, but you're not avoiding it because you still want it, then that's an offense. And these are sinful activities. Generally, the four regulative principles are the foundation by which all sinful activities ensue. Illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, watching television. Karmi television.
Okay, thank you. And I have one more related question, Guru Maharaj, about the verse 8th as well. And that we shouldn't take the holy name same as the material activity. And you mentioned that we shouldn't pray, like we shouldn't when we're chanting we shouldn't have the, and this for the health or anything like that. And this question has been raised in the past as well, that sometimes devotees pray for devotees themselves, they do extra rounds, like for Maharaja's health and all this. So I'm assuming that doing extra rounds and praying for the devotees is different than praying for our general health, like, or maybe for any other people who are not devotees or trying to be devotees.
You know Srila Prabhupada's instruction on this matter? Do you know that?
Yes, I think last time you mentioned that if you should pray that, Lord, if you so desire, then so,
So you're leaving it up to Krishna. You're not telling Krishna what you want. You're saying, this is what I want, but still, whatever you want.
okay. So even when we're praying from Maharajas or doing extra rounds, this is how our intention, because sometimes the prayers become so intensified that we just want.
But Prabhupada just gave that. He told us how to, he said, my dear Lord, if you so desire, please cure my friend, my spiritual master, if you so desire.
So desire. Yes.
That means you're not telling the Lord what you want. You're explaining what you want, but still you're leaving it up to him. We can't ask for material things from the Lord and expect that he has to do it. That's not his business. Yeah, that's very popular nowadays. Rupam Dehi, Yasod Dehi, Janam Dehi, Dhanam Dehi, Dehi. Dehi, Dehi, Dehi. He's got everything, so he can spare it, and I need it. and that makes you're trying to make the Lord your servant rather than becoming his servant. That's all. You're changing the relationship around. You're my servant, Lord, so this is what I want you to do. Yeah, that's what it is. We're trying to make the Lord our servant. And it becomes unlimited. The whole world has this, what we say, idea that the Lord is simply there to fulfill our material requests.
Yes,
Well,
Shridevi Mataji, I think you go ahead. Yeah.
he is not the order supplier, he is the order giver. My dear Lord, how can I serve you? And then you'll get an instruction to fulfill that, and then you're in the right consciousness. Okay.
Thank you so much. That helps. Yes, Shridevi Mataji, please go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, on the point that you correctly, very nicely explained to us, that our whole life should be molded in such a way that it supports our chanting. The first time I came across this expression, secondary principles, I didn't know about it, and it means no television, no mobiles, don't eat outside food cooked by non-devotees, don't watch movies. So, is this considered secondary prohibitive principles in our Krishna consciousness movement?
Prabhupada explains one should know knowledge and nescience side by side, what to do, what not to do. Sanatana Goswami gives the formula. He says, anukulena and pratikul, things to do, things to avoid. So this things to avoid becomes very subtle after a while. You can't expect to act in a materialistic way and at the same time get the right consciousness where you can practice Krishna consciousness. You have to avoid certain activities and certain mindsets. It's a process of purification. It comes first on the gross level and then goes to the subtle level. If we're still acting in a way wrongly on the gross level, the subtle level will still become very strong, and you won't be able to practice Krishna consciousness. I can do anything as long as I chant Hare Krishna. That's not the idea. What you do 22 hours a day will affect what you do 2 hours a day when you're chanting. That's why Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, one who eats too much or eats too little, sleeps too much or sleeps too little, cannot practice the yoga system. One should be temperate in eating, sleeping, working, and recreation. If you're working like a donkey all day, and then when you go back in the evening, you think I still have rounds to do. You're chanting at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. You're tired, and you expect to get the chant properly. That's why chanting and worship is recommended for the Brahma Muhurta hour. When get enough rest at night, wake up, get yourself clean, and just sit down and focus. That's all. Put the cell phone away, put all of the other activities. You got the whole day will come to you in due course of time. It's not that you have to perform all of the activities in the day throughout the day. Has to be quality time for hearing and chanting. And also, one should live according to the teachings given by the spiritual teachers. You can't be talking nonsense throughout the day, and then when you go time for chanting, you expect to be able to focus on the holy name. It's not going to happen.
Thank you. Thanks, Maharaj. I hope, Mataji, that answers your question.
Rupa Goswami explains in Nectar of Instructions 6 things that are favorable, 6 things that are unfavorable. Favorable is enthusiasm, determination, patience, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, avoiding the association of non-devotees, and following the process as given by the previous and present acharyas. The 6 things that are unfavorable is eating too much, collecting too much, working hard for mundane things, speaking prajalpa, unnecessary and nonsense talk, following the rules and regulations for the sake of following, or rejecting the rules and regulations and working independently and whimsically. Again, associating with those who are against the process of devotional service, and greed for mundane things. Now, these 6 things that Rupa Goswami has scientifically gleaned from the instructions given to him by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally. And he has written it down in Nectar of Devotion. And then he's taken that Nectar of Devotion and fine-tuned the knowledge of nectar devotion into nectar instructions. We just did a seminar with the devotees in Detroit, in America, on the nectar of instructions. It was quite, I thought it was quite successful. There was a lot of good discussions that we had, and it opened up a lot of areas that people weren't even aware of. Nectar instructions is very important. Little treatise. Only 11 verses. We got a whole bunch of Detroit people over there online today. Any comments about nectar and instructions? Would you like to say something? Rasa Vilas, Amrita Sundari. Who else do we have there? Ananda Sagar and Bhagavad Shri. All of those attended the discussions. Pani, Pavni, she's there too. She probably knows more than all of us. No comments from the Detroit? You guys forgot already? Come on.
Okay, maybe I think they're thinking about it. What you must have discussed. Shridevi Mataji, do you have any further questions, or there is another question from Boni Prabhu?
Bonnie, not Bonnie.
Bani, sorry.
Stop calling her Bonnie. She's bigger than you are. Bony means, really skinny. Bones are hanging out. This flesh is hardly there. That's bony. She's Bonnie.
Bani. Sorry, it's my typical Indian accent. Sorry, Bani.
The name is Bonita. That's the actual name, Bonita.
Oh, okay, then I'll call Bonita. That's much better. That's fine then.
Bonita.
Thank you.
Given a shortened version called Bonnie, so but it's Bonita. Yeah.
Bonita. That's fine. I'll call Bonita. That's much better for me, I think. Okay, so the question is, Hare Krishna Maharaj, I could never understand why we pray for anything at all, even with the clause, because it seems Krishna will do what he wants regardless. Does he really even consider? Is there any point to the praying?
Yeah, the praying is, my dear Lord, what do you want? That's the prayer. My dear Lord, how can I serve you? My dear Lord, what can I do to please you? My dear Lord, what can I give up that I need to give up? My dear Lord, what can I take on that I need to take on? Yeah, these are prayers, not like, Dehi, Dehi, Dehi. Okay, does that help?
Does it help, Bonita Mataji? I hope it does. Yeah. Any other questions from devotees? Any other questions? Otherwise, we can. Shridevi Mataji, you have so many questions today. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm still, trying to understand everything that Guru Maharaj is saying. Guru Maharaj, on this point of chanting and trying to do our best chanting early in the morning, I find that when I go to the temple for the morning program, that's the time I really can chant the best, because there is no question of distraction. You're just there with all the devotees. You can't do a thing except chant. So that's when, for me personally, and that's how I have been all these years. now certain things have happened, and so I'm trying to chant at home. Do you think that it is always better to go to the temple and make that attempt to chant because that's what is the best? Or should one try to improve the chanting wherever one is?
What works for you? That's the question. What works for you?
I chant best in the temple.
Okay, then do it. That,
Okay.
that's all. That's simple.
Okay, we have another question. If that's okay, I'll take this one. Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisance. All glory Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj and all Vaishnavas. When we cook, we think about what we want to eat and don't consider what Krishna might like. How can we develop this consciousness? We have to cook for Krishna, not for ourselves.
Yeah, that's simple. Are you married?
This question is from Rasa Vilasni Radha Mataji.
She's married.
Okay.
I know her husband also. So he's coming home from work and you think, let me cook what I like and I'll give it to him. Or let me cook what he likes and that'll please him. Which one do you do?
Asking me or Rasa Vilasni Mataji?
He's listening, he's online too.
I can't say anything, Maharaj.
Well, it's obvious. You think about what the person likes and then you do it. What does Krishna like? And how can I make it for him? Oh,
I hope.
I'll be right back.
So we have one more question from Anand Sagar Jagannath Prabhu, and then I'll take your Sakshi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, sorry for interrupting. Actually,
Yes.
that was a comment which
On
Maharaj
devotion.
asked earlier.
Okay, for NOI. Okay, that's fine.
Yes.
We'll do that.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. No, it's nice to get comment because he requested all of you to say something about the classes. So thank you.
Yes,
If any-
Mataji. If
Thank
you
you.
could,
If anyone else has the comment, then please just type it if you can't read. So that'll be good.
Okay.
So I think Rasavilasni Mataji, that answers your question. Is there anything further you want to ask?
No, Maharaj. No, Mataji. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
So Maharaj, you requested Detroit devotees to let you know about the NOI sessions. So Anand Sagar Prabhu has commented, Hare Krishna Maharaj, Danvat Pranam, all glories to you and Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you so much for conducting seminar on Nectar of Instruction. We relished the seminar and learned so many things in these 11 verses that takes a devotee from Shraddha to Prema. It was indeed a spiritually uplifting seminar. Besides, we enjoyed your association and jokes too. And then we have, yes, Sakshi Mataji, you're next. Please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And Hare Krishna to all the devotees. Maharaj, I found a prayer by Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj. So it goes like this. My dear Lord Krishna, free will is my problem. I don't know how to manage my free will. Therefore, I'm begging you, please take my free will and manage it for me. So I found it interesting. I wanted to know how Krishna reciprocates if we pray in this way.
No, he'll reciprocate. Don't worry. He knows what to do. If you sincerely pray, you're really making that prayer from the heart. He knows exactly what to do. I can't say what he's going to do. All I know is that He's perfect and he knows how to answer your prayers in the way that is perfect.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Sri Devi's asking, what is that prayer?
Yes.
Say the prayer again, Rasa. Oh no, who was it?
Sakshi Mataji, please say the prayer again.
Mataji, it goes like this. My dear Lord Krishna, free will is my problem, and I don't know how to manage my free will. Therefore, I am begging you, please take my free will and manage it for me.
Okay,
Just typing it for everyone.
be right back.
Hare Krishna Satyabhama Mataji, my video is disabled.
Yes, I will switch it on, Mataji. Just give me a second. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So I've just written down the prayer in the chat. And this was from Mataji. Who was it from?
By Bhakti Teet Swami.
Bhakti Tirtha Swami. Thank you. Yes, we have a number of questions. I'll take one by one. Just give a few seconds, Maharaj. I'll be back soon. Thank you.
Sorry about that. I'm trying to manage what's happening over here too, and it's not working. So
Okay. Thanks, Maharaj. So we have a number of questions from Trapti Mataji first. Trapti Mataji, please go ahead. You're on mute, Mataji. You're on mute.
Hare Krishna, my obeisances to Guru Maharaj, my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and Hare Krishna to all Vaishnava. Amazing class, another very insight class. Very nice questions asked by other devotees, which were my questions as well, and I got the answers. And yes, especially the one for how to cook for Krishna is that every day in the morning, I talk to Krishna and I say to him, when I can't think, I said, Krishna, what shall we eat today? What would you like to eat? And when I can't think, I ask him and he gives me inspiration. And then we cook and we have prasadam. Also, I just wanted to say I'm here in Toronto, beautiful Toronto, and we'll be visiting our temple tomorrow here, and I will be praying for everybody. So I just wanted to say hello from Toronto, and I'm still doing my class. I'm still doing what I need to do, and very thankful for Guru Maharaj class. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much.
you're offering the food to Krishna before you eat?
No. Yes, of course. Yes. I cook. I ask Krishna in the morning first. When I offer him milk in the morning when I wake him up, and I give him milk, and I talk to him and I tell him that it's time to go and take the cows to feed and play your bansuri to all the animals, everybody waiting. And then I give him the milk, and then when I cook lunch, then I give him the bhog. and then we eat the prasadam. Yes, always.
Speak to your sister. She can teach you there's a whole procedure for offering.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to offer water, you change the water, you have.
Yes, I do all that. Yes, I do first, even before I go to bed in the evening, I change the water. And in the morning, first thing, I take that water. I have that water as my prasadam.
You
And
know-
then I put new water.
You know the three prayers for offering?
Yes, yes.
What are the three prayers?
I do my prayers in my language because I am still just starting to do the prayers, Hare Krishna prayers. So I do my prayers
Well,
in a
prayers in the Sanskrit. These are authorized forms of prayers. The first is Prabhupada's pranams.
yeah.
You say it 3 times. The second is Lord Chaitanya's prayers, Namo
Yes.
Mahavishnu.
Yes.
The last one is a prayer for Lord Krishna, Namo Brahmanya Devaya. You say each prayer 3 times, then you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3
Yeah.
times, and then you leave you leave it on the altar 10 to 15 minutes, so the Lord can.
Okay.
You follow
Okay.
if you do it the right way, then then the Lord will. You have to
Yeah.
follow the procedure. You
Yeah.
can't create your own ideas on how to do it.
Yeah. And and when I do all that, and then I chant my 16 rounds, and I do my 1 chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and then I do my Sri Shastakam, and I read little bit of Bhagavatam as well. Depends on the time provides. Otherwise, I read it in the day.
What I'm trying to tell you is there is a procedure for offering prayers.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Yes, I will do that. I will talk to my sister, and yes, I will do that, Guru Maharaj. Thank you.
Mataji. Thank you. I'll share the prayers with you. Thank you. We'll talk when you're back. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare
Yes,
Krishna.
Bhagyashree Mataji, please go ahead.
She's not listening to anything I'm saying. She's just talking. If you would listen, you'll be able to learn something. If you have your own ideas how to do something, then you won't learn anything. I'm telling you exactly how to do it. You have to listen. Listen is important. Not telling me what you do. Listen on how you should do it. Your sister is an initiated devotee, and she knows the whole system. She can tell you exactly how to do it in the proper way. When you offer food, it should be done according to the scriptures and not according to our own ideas.
Okay, Guru Maharaj.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, Guru Maharaj. I will do that.
Yeah. Your sister knows exactly how to do it. She's initiated devotee.
Yes,
Thank
Guru
you.
Maharaj.
Thanks, Ruti Mataji.
Okay.
Bhagyashree Mataji, just before I go on your question, Lasli Mataji has sent a comment on Nectar of Instruction sessions. So, Guru Maharaj, I'll read that. Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to you and Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisance. Comment on Nectar of Instruction sessions. We immersed ourselves in the nectarian words spoken by you on Nectar of Instructions, and we did not want to come out of it. Definitely a beneficial seminar that helps a devotee to advance in their spiritual journey. Very grateful to you conducting seminars. Thank you. Thanks, Mataji, for the sweet comment. Bhagyashree Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj, actually, I just wanted to share my realizations regarding the Nectar of Seminar, Nectar of Instruction seminar. It was so much enriching and so much inspiring. Like earlier also, we had attended like Nectar of Instruction, some classes or something like that. But it was altogether different experience. We feel much relishing of the holy name in your presence, and as well the points you mentioned we might have heard earlier as well, but when you spoke that, somehow that got clicked or got connected to the Krishna. It was really very much enriching experience, Maharaj.
Good, thank you. It's good to go do a refresher. Refresher means that we can relive what we learned. and then continue to practice it. Krishna consciousness requires continuous efforts to, and as soon as we get away from it, we forget. We have to stay fixed on the process. My material energy is characterized by forgetfulness. And forgetfulness is one of the qualities of the living entity in the material world. They forget, they remember what they want to do, and they forget what they should do. That's the material world.
Thank you. Thanks, Bhagyashi Mataji. So Guru Maharaj, we have 23 past 1. However you want to do, we can do one round of japa, or we can close the session.
I think I have to manage some stuff here. That's some,
Okay.
so we need to stop. We'll continue tomorrow. Tomorrow's verse is somewhat similar to today's verse, so it's even more detailed in the same subject matter. So come for tomorrow. It's an interesting verse.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time and association, Guru Maharaj. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
obeisances to
Krishna.
you, Guru
Thank you so
Maharaj.
much, Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna
Hare
Maharaj,
Krishna.
please accept my humble obeisances.
Thank you,
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj, for your wisdom. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Jai.
Thank you very much.